Hey guys, welcome to Clockwork Noodles for another breakdown of Summertime Rendering episode number 17. Before we get going, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We are approaching the halfway point for the season, which means the midway review is going to go up at some point in the next week. In this video, I'm going to crown my top 3 OPs, top 3 EDs, and current standing of anime. What are my top 3 anime of the season so far? What am I thinking? It also gives me a chance midway through the season to talk to you guys about how I'm finding it, interesting thoughts, whether I've missed a show that I want you guys to go check out. Make sure you guys are tuned in. If you are finding me for the first time, hello, I am Clockwork Noodles. I break down anime on the channel every single week. Normally as well, I'll do a midway review, I'll do a end of season review. Those videos do pretty well because I get to talk to you guys. So if you don't like the anime I'm breaking down, you can still check in with me every 6 weeks just to see what's going on. Thank you guys already for your continued support. The numbers on the channel are up, all my views are up, but we are sadly not moving on subscribers. If you are finding me and you are watching my videos, make sure that you have hit that subscribe button because it really does help us out. Let's get going. Ushio reveals that the eye that we see exploding from Hane was herself. This was the moment that Ushio had been born. I thought Ushio came about when Ushio had been copied, so I'm not quite sure how this fits into our narrative. Ushio starts to see Ushio. I always presumed that meant she had been flashed or copied. That was 14 years, so that means that Shadow's been floating around for 14 years. There are some issues with time and narrative for me in this anime, but I actually think that's important. I think that's actually part of the big overarching theory that I've been having, and I'm actually going to be adding some ticks to my box this week because I got some information through this episode in particular that does still back up my main theory that Ushio and Hane are connected by parenthood, and same with Shin. Initially, I didn't think Ushio would go bad just because Hane is a deity. There's a little bit of a difference. That shell isn't bad, the deity inside her is. I could actually eat my words and might have to eat my hat on that theory in particular. I just get the feeling that she's slightly different from Hane. I don't think she's going to be bad because there's a point as well when she talks about Hane. I get a vibe that both Ushio and Hane are very different, even if there is the same deity or maybe different deities within them. This is also why I do not want a clone. I hate me. I am my worst, biggest critic. I don't need another me rubbing it in, knowing exactly where to hit me in those nerves, knowing exactly where to hurt me the most. I don't want one. Shadow Mio really does hit that soft spot that Mio is living in the shadow of Ushio, and not just shadows. This is actually a metaphysical shadow. You are feeling inferior and you both like the same guy, and I have a feeling with things lately, I have a feeling Shin's more likely to go with Ushio than Mio, so it's going to be a destined to fail type thing there. So yeah, that must be quite painful. But at least Mio is trying to give her that push. If you don't do it, I'm gonna do it. She's had enough of just watching Mio sitting in the shadows of Ushio. Up until this point, most of the shadows have been similar, so I think Ushio is a little bit the same, and any shadows that we have met have acted the same, but Mio acts a little bit differently. She acts a little bit more confidently, bolder than the actual real Mio. So whether some shadows can be different or whether they bring out different aspects of a person, that would be interesting to know. Let's go back to the King of Trash quickly. So's dad has, up until this point, denied everybody else a cremation. They've become snack food for Hane, but he decided that he didn't want to let his wife be eaten either. To me, he's just the King of Trash. You've denied everybody else that right, the right to be cremated, not eaten, and have their remains lay peacefully. But he really is just the King of Trash, and I don't think there's any redemption for me, even if he does apologise to Chucky for me. He openly shot her. If that had not been a clone, if that had not been a shadow, he would have killed his daughter. His daughter wouldn't even be there to apologise to. No redemption. But through him, we do get that they have had 300 years of involvement. I did think that this shadow story went on further. I had a feeling, maybe back in the first half of this anime, I said, what if this story goes on not just years, but centuries? What if it's old? Nezu is hiding a secret that his wife, sadly, was turned into a shadow. And an interesting theory that comes up this week is the different viewpoints on the idea of a shadow. Now, I'm going to change the word shadow to clone for a moment, address a more realistic aspect of our own world. Cloning is happening. I think China mainly is cloning pets. You pay a lot of money to have your beloved pet brought back and you have a clone. There are still two lines of thought. One, you can live with it, consider them a human, consider them the original, identical image to the original dog. And then there's the people who see them as just copies. They're not the same. The clone is not the original. I have been thinking about this myself, and I personally believe that the clone is not the same. Although with the dogs, I do say that a few people who have said that they've had their pets cloned, the dogs act differently. They might be able to clone them, but the way that they act, the stuff that you nurture into a pet, that's not there apparently. So they will look the same. They might have the same markings and everything, but apparently they act very differently. I personally wouldn't consider them the same or the original, but I would still maybe see them as human because they look human, they act human. So I probably would fall into a trap of not wanting to shoot. I probably would be in a category where I couldn't do that. It does raise a nice philosophical debate to whether you yourself would consider a clone the original, the same, your views on cloning as well. Thoughts on cloning, you can pop them down in the comments below. The comments on this anime have been quite interesting. Most of the time I just get animes where people are happy to watch. Shadow's House is one of those. It is the leading breakdown this season for views. It's breaking 100 every single week. Thank you guys so much. That means a lot. It's a quiet one. We've only just started discussing a little bit on that one. This video, I can always guarantee at least a couple of comments talking about it, and I like reading the comments. It makes me interested to see what you guys also think. So what are your thoughts on cloning, guys? It was only now that I noticed how long Shin's hair really was, and I was pretty shocked. I didn't think it would go past his shoulders, but I guess it does because he ties it up a bit. Has it always been this long? It is the first time we see Shin taking a nap. That's probably the last downtime he's going to get before they have a face-off anyways. The one time Shin took a nap and Deca was like, wow, you've got really long hair. A few of us in the comments have been wondering where the hell Alan has been. He has reappeared this week, however he's had 0 questions. It does seem a bit odd, but I do believe he's human. It's all good, guys. I think he's immune. I think at one point they copied him and then they killed the shadow. I don't know if that applies for every single loop, but he's definitely been immune in a few loops. I'm not worried about Alan much, but it is weird that he just greets them with a smile, doesn't ask where everybody's been. He doesn't see Usho, that's fine. Interested to see his reaction to seeing his dead daughter. Would expect a emotional reunion or something, but the anime's not going there. Talking about Ushio, let's have magical girl Ushio transforming. I love it. It's a great transformation sequence of her hair growing back. I thought the shorter hair suited her, but she's got her long hair back, and that's going to be better for her when it comes to fighting in the final showdown, making sure that she's in peak condition. Love the fact as well that it's Mio who is aiding her sister. She goes around the bathroom grabbing all those pieces of hair. To be fair, there must be more hair in that house. Grab her hairbrush. Ushio is like me. I've got the same length hair as Ushio. Your hairbrush is going to be covered in hair. Absolutely covered. And my hair's everywhere. We could just keep feeding Ushio hair and maybe we'll be okay. Now we have drive for Mio to stay alive because she wants to confess her feelings to Shin. Even though she knows that he's probably going to reject her, she is brave. And I think both of the sisters are very brave because we also see young Ushio this week as well being super brave. Stands up for herself. She knows that she doesn't have to tolerate being bullied. However, she does go about it in a bit of a violent way. The teacher's backstory does give us a little bit of information about her as a kid. It does arrive a bit late for me though to cry over the teacher's loss. I think you've added it in too late. I've literally seen one backstory with this teacher, so I'm not crying over her, but it's nice to get a bit of information about our main characters at the same time. So the next sequence when we see Heterochromia Ushio with the red eyes suddenly appearing. I don't also know why woken the eye up now, why the eye's only just coming into play, but I could be wrong. I mean, I still don't think Ushio is going to go down the path of being bad because the deity actually states that Hana is not going to recover by eating people. It just seems calmer. It just the way that she talks initially seems pretty calm. It doesn't really strike any bad nerves. I just have a feeling that whatever is inside Ushio is different from Hane because something clearly wanted to break free at that moment in time. Something wanted to be away from the main being. We know the main deity is still with Hane, so whatever is with Ushio is different. Our two teens split up and do some detective work this week as we investigate who's the shadow, who's not around. It does seem that the shadows have taken out a lot of the families in the town. they target families. If there's a reason why they're targeting families, it might come out a bit later on why in particular they're taking out families. But we are all now waiting for the festival. This is the showdown. We lose this time round. I think Shin said we've got one more try and that's it. Right at the end, Shin does the thing that I have been screaming about from day one. He finally goes back to the shrine, and I have been saying in the comments for quite some time. So you guys were barking about where Alan was. Me, I wanted to see him go back to the shrine because loop number 1, the shrine owner wasn't there. Everything happens at the shrine. It seemed very, very important that we went back to the shrine. There's been a few rumours which always linked back to the shrine. It's the location of the festival. It just seemed very important. The guy who runs the shrine is going to be a key person from day number 1. There's a point, I think, during the twins' backstory when we go and see how she met Hane. He's there. He is literally there in the same story. It felt very important that we go find this guy. It just got swept under the rug. Also, as well, Hane is a god, a deity, especially with Japan in a sense. There's shrines everywhere. I saw a really interesting video recently, and I think it literally takes place in Akihabara, very busy, bustling Tokyo capital where everyone's doing their business. And if you just go down a tiny little route, there is a hidden away shrine off one of the main roads, and it's so diddy. It's cramped. It's literally stuck between 2 buildings. There's no room to really do anything, and it's just there. Japan is a home of shrines, and it just feels the idea that Hane would have a shrine and her being a deity is kind of a given. Thankful that we are finally going down the route that I really wanted to see us go. We're going to go and investigate the shrine owner. He knows something. He totally knows something, and I'm going to be very interested to see what it is that he knows. Also, guys, if you want another tick in my big overarching plot, the credit at the end sequence, and I think we also had it last week as well, it says, brought to you by Daddy. Shin is Hane's dad, and I haven't figured it out yet, but this is another tick in my book. It's not just putting that on the screen for no reason. It's brought to you by Daddy, but Daddy is investigating right now. Don't know how to make the story fit. I'm missing puzzle pieces. Interesting sentence that we also heard during this episode was Hane's original body is gone. Heterochromia Usho said, when did it go? And does that actually explain why they now need a new body? Because we have said that the data, especially with people like Usho, the reason why she needs hair is to keep refreshing that data. Double-bladed sword, so we're told that they need the original to copy, but then we're also told that they have to get rid of the original within a week or they vanish, but they need the original there to keep refreshing their data. So it's a bit of a weird one. But it's been a fantastic episode. A lot more questions, a lot more answers as we keep going. Swings and roundabouts of this anime. But we do only have about 7 episodes left. So there's 25 episodes, 7 episodes to go. Whatever we've got now is going to take place in 7 episodes. I am just praying we get a solid ending. I want it all wrapped up. I want to make sure that all the little plot lines are explained. I hope by the end of it, I fully understand what's happened. Another good episode. I can't wait to see what happens next week as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys for always tuning in as well. You guys have been amazing. You stuck with me for 2 seasons now. Thank you guys so much. It really does mean a lot to me. We're not a big channel, but the people who do stick around, you guys mean more to me. I hope I can continue bringing you guys interesting videos, and I hope you guys enjoy listening to me, even if it is as background or just a bit of ASMR as you guys work on something. Have a good day, guys. Bye bye.